Hello everyone. We are Group 6 of British and American Institution subject with our lecturer Miss Novita Mulyana SSM Home. We are from English Department of Faculty of Humanities, Udayana University. Today, we are going to be presenting about the architecture and transportation in the USA. Before we start, I'm gonna introduce my group members. The first is Ida Bagus Puspayoga, with the last student digit number is 1138. Next is myself, Imadi Rasmawan, with the last student digit number is 1161. And the last, Niputu Wulan Adelia Putri, with the last student digit number is 1164. So, the first material will be presented by my friend.
Introduction. The United States is widely well known for its wide-ranging and complicated infrastructure, mainly in the domains of architecture and transportation. From the iconic city skylines of New York and Chicago to the extensive network of highways and bridges spanning the country, the U.S. has set global standards in architectural innovation and efficient transportation solutions. The country's architectural prodigies, such as the Empire State Building, the Golden Gate Bridge, and the Willis Tower, stand as testaments to the nation's prowess in designing and constructing iconic structures that capture the world's imagination. Additionally, the U.S. transportation system, which includes a vast network of roads, railways, and airports, plays a crucial role in connecting people and goods across the nation, contributing to the country's economic vitality and global influence. The architecture in the USA. Pre-Columbian and indigenous influence. Pre-Columbian architecture, sophisticated and varied achievements of indigenous societies in North, Central, and South America before European contact. Impressive structures, pyramids, temples, and organized cities using local materials like stone, stucco, and mud brick. Incorporation of intricate carvings, symbolism, and astronomical alignments reflecting advanced knowledge. Representation of wealth, capabilities, and connections to deities and ancestors. Indigenous architecture in the United States and Canada, blending traditional designs with modern aesthetics, emphasis on the cultural histories of Native Americans, adaptation of Pueblo people's adobe structures and tapes of Great Plains tribes into contemporary cultural centers, memorials, and museums, incorporation of traditional symbols and materials showcasing enduring connection to ancestral traditions. Notable projects: Seneca Cayuga Administration Center in Miami, Oklahoma, and Mystic Lake Casino highlighting innovative ways indigenous architecture bridges the past and the present. Colonial era, 1600s to 1700s. During the colonial era, American architecture featured a blend of styles from European settlers. Styles included New England colonial with its wooden salt box and Cape Cod homes, Dutch colonials with stone and brick structures in the Hudson River Valley, and Southern colonial with its hall and parlor layout in the Carolinas. Swedish settlers introduced the log cabin, while Pennsylvania colonial incorporated Georgian influences. These styles reflected the settlers' origins and adapted the local material and climates, creating a diverse architectural landscape across the United States. Early National Period 1780s to 1820s. During the early national period, American architecture evolved from colonial styles to embrace a distinctly American aesthetic influenced by the nation's independence. This era saw the rise of the federal style, characterized by neoclassical elements, symmetry, and a focus on public buildings. Key figures included Charles Bulfinch and Samuel McIntyre, whose design reflected the ideals of the young republic. The federal style emphasized order and balance, marking a departure from British architectural traditions and establishing a new American identity in architecture. Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, 1830s to 1890s, brought significant changes to American architecture influenced by technology, urbanization, and European architecture movements. The era saw the rise of Beaux Art style, the emergence of shingle style architecture, and the Renaissance revival. It is witnessed the development of skyscrapers and a transition from Gothic revival to the international style. The architecture during this time reflected a blend of historic revival styles, technological innovation, and a focus on urban planning and landscaping, symbolizing the rapid changes and growth of American society.
The next material is late 19th century to early 20th century. Late 19th century and early 20th century American architecture was heavily influenced by European tradition. The period saw the emergence of the new trends and the revitalization of traditional style. Dominant architectural style include colonial revival, classical revival, Spanish revival, Tudor revival, collegiate Gothic, Italian Renaissance revival, and the Beaux Arts. This style focused on replicating past architectural form and drew inspiration from various historical and cultural influence. The next slide is talk about the mid-20th century to present day. The period from the mid-20th century to the present in America, architecture saw the rise of modernist and postmodern style. These styles were influenced by technological advancements and societal change. Modernist architects emphasized utility and minimalism, while postmodern architects incorporated historical elements and emphasized playfulness. The next slide is key figures and their movements. In the pre-Columbian and ingenious influence, Mayans, known for advancements in astronomy, mathematics, and architecture, and Aztecs, famous for city planning and the development of the sunstone calendar. Incans, renowned for engineering feats and advanced understanding of geology and engineering. Various indigenous tribes include the Cayenne, Kiowa, Comanche, Iroquois, Pawnee, and Cow, made unique contribution to the ingenious architecture. In the colonial era, from 16th century to 17th century, Thomas Jefferson's contribution to the neoclassical style and his design for Monticello. And the early national period from the 1780th century to 1820th century, Charles Bloomfield's federal style architecture, exemplified by the Massachusetts State House. In the Industrial Revolution, from the 1830th century to the 1819th century, Daniel Burnham Beaux Arts style and the White City at the World's Columbian Exposition. So in the late 19th century to the early 20th century, Frank Lloyd Wright's Prairie School design and influence on the modern architecture. And the mid-20th century to the present day, Frank Gehry, the constructivist architecture exemplified by the Walt Disney Concert Hall in the Los Angeles 2003.
Okay, so the next material will be the transportation in the USA. The first is colonial era from 1600s until 1700s. Transportation during the colonial era in the USA 1600s until 1700s relied mainly on waterways and animal power due to the shortage of major roads. The primary methods of land transport were the Conestoga wagon and horseback riding. The need to move goods around the countryside drove the development of roads and vehicles. This led to the growth of roads and the establishment of the first legislation on highways. The next is Industrial Revolution, late 18th century to mid-19th century. Advancements in transportation occurred in the late 18th to mid-19th century in the United States. Steam-powered locomotives, completion of the transcontinental railroads in 1869, and construction of the Erie Canal in 1825 were significant developments. These advancements revolutionized commercial transportation, resulting in increased mobility and economic growth. Expansion of road networks and infrastructure investment further facilitated economic activity and encouraged settlement in previously inaccessible areas. These changes drove the nation's industrialization and economic expansions during that period. Late 19th to early 20th century. The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a significant transformation in the United States transportation system. Railways, roads, automobiles, and airplanes were developed during this period. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869 and the emergence of the automobile and aviation industry played crucial roles in shaping the modern transportation system. These developments influenced leisure patterns, encouraged suburban sprawl, and fostered a more cohesive national culture. Mid-20th century to present day. The United States has witnessed significant changes in transportation from the late 20th century to the present, driven by technological advancements, environmental concerns, and evolving societal needs. There has been a shift from a car-centered culture to a focus on sustainability, smart transportation solutions. The emergence of ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft, as well as the development of autonomous vehicles, has further altered urban mobility patterns. The ongoing digital revolutions continues to reshape transportation, integrating information technology into everyday travel experiences. So the next is key figures and their innovations. During the colonial era, John Stevens proposed canals and railroads ahead of his time. In the Industrial Revolution, Richard Trevithick debuted a steam-powered locomotive, paving the way for the railway revolution. In the late 19th century, Henry Ford mass-produced affordable automobiles, transforming personal transportation. Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart pioneered aviation, inspiring the airline industry. Frederick W. Smith founded FedEx, revolutionizing overnight delivery services. And the last is Elon Musk co-founded SpaceX and Tesla, pushing the boundaries of space travel and electric vehicle technology. That is all from our group. Thank you very much.